There's a line from Wallace Stegner, the great novelist of the late 20th century, and he said that if we don't know where we are, then we won't know who we are. The places where we locate ourselves and spend our time and the people with whom we are in relationship in particular places matters.
I think it was becoming that we ended up in this building. It had a sense of destiny about it.
Those of us who have been part of this building will never lose that nostalgia for this building. It really has been the best 30 years of my life. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It has a lot of history, and we made it our own.
To me, UJH was a symbol. It was the best thing in my life. What wonderful entree into a profession that I adored.
The space is such a prominent character in the story. This was our home.
It was the first school of social work in the state. I think it gave us a mandate to not only teach social work, but to be a leader in the field of social work.
We called it Motel 6 because it was literally a hotel, or one of those ones that was outdoors.
It was shaped like an old motel, with all the doors opening on to balconies overlooking a courtyard. Every suite had a bathroom with a shower in it. It was quite different. It actually had a swimming pool which had been filled in, and that was a unique fact about this building. And I remember one time we decided we would have a newsletter about the School of Social Work. We had a contest to see what we would call it, and the name that won was the Poolside Press.
Really sort of felt like an auxiliary unit. And coming here into this old established structure really gave, I think, an increased sense of legitimacy.
You know, education is really about changing society. It's about changing people. I mean, we say at UT, it's about changing the world. It's about making everyone in society successful, not just a select few.
In 1933, UT entered into a partnership with the Austin Independent School District to open a junior high school.
They could use this school. It would be a lab school. And then they put all kinds of wonderful student teachers in this school.
Very ahead of its time. You know, a school where all these innovative educational practices went on in it. It had wonderful leadership. A lab school is a school that's really set up to be very experimental, to provide a lot of training to different professionals, especially teachers, of course. And it had all the evidence-based, innovative kinds of practices. It was like on the cutting edge of anything that anyone was doing anywhere in education.
Okie doke. I'm generally known as Eddie Wilson. Edwin Osborne Wilson is my name. I was a standout student at University Junior High School. Austin was a small town that stretched from north to south. There was a time during this period when you could turn right or left at any point up and down Guadalupe and in a minute be out of town.
It was the highlight of my life. When I came to UT, I went over to the College of Education and I said to the secretary, I don't know what you call it, but I want to teach the kids that no one else wants to teach. And she said, that's called special ed. And so I got a double degree in elementary and special ed. Personnel called me from AISD and said, we understand you're graduating, but we don't have an application from you. I made $4,000 a year and thought I was rich. I would just take my kids out down to Water Creek and we would collect leaves. I was really learning so much about their lives.
I did not really know the rich history of this building at that time, but we certainly became aware of it and how important this building was. Not only the history of UT, of course, but the history of Austin.
Given its location so close to East Austin, where the dividing line was 12th Street going north was considered Black East Austin, and then 7th Street going south to Lady Bird Lake was considered Mexican American East Austin. Given that the junior high was so centrally located, close to East Austin, and then close to West Austin, that's why they had an easier time integrating.
It was one of the more diverse schools of its kind in the city of Austin, and one of the earlier schools to achieve the kind of diversity that we seek in social work.
I was at UJH the year that Allen Junior High burned down. And it was a seminal year for a lot of reasons. Certainly for the kids from Allen who had to have a place to go to school. And so the university and school system hustled around and came up with a plan overnight where the kids from Allen would go to school at University Junior High in the afternoon, starting about 12:30 and going to about 4:30, and they moved the early morning classes up to 7:30 to noon 30. We learned how to get along real quick because we didn't have any time to practice.
I had no idea I was going to be the last faculty. I didn't know that the university was going to take over the building. I found out and I thought, how appropriate. Gosh, they made a good decision.
Every generation has to create their own success.
We just needed something that better accommodated our needs, and this building became available to us over time.
You know, it was very important to our status on this campus. It really was, you know, when we got into this building here. And even though it's our old building, now it was our new building then.
Maybe it's fitting at this point that its last use is going to have been the home of the Steve Hicks School of Social Work.
I remember getting on the elevator and going upstairs and just being amazed at the amount of space that they had.
We were very excited, and of course we wanted to come and see the building, and we came and took a tour. And that's when we saw all the specimen jars. There were just hundreds and hundreds of jars filling this building.
It had cadavers in the bottom, had sciences in here, and you know, and it had like little experiments that were over there, and had a lot of lockers since it had been, you know, a lab school and, you know, been a middle school, a junior high school.
I think it's appropriate to talk about the Utopia Theater where we are right now. I remember when they underwent the renovation and turned it into this just miraculous place, and the size fit them so well, and just the intimacy and the decor in here. I think it really captures the heart of the school.
Dean White was the first African-American dean at the University of Texas. It was another historic event, I mean, not only for our school, but definitely for the university.
Barbara White was dean of the school for, you know, like 18 years. She also developed a very collaborative faculty and school climate that was enviable by every school in the nation. During that time, we developed the clinical concentration, which is one of the top, you know, clinical concentrations or clinical social work programs in the nation. And she, you know, certainly helped us, you know, develop a very good macro concentration app. That was her area, policy. She was the one that put a lot of structures in place for our research infrastructure, the beginnings of it. You know, she brought a center here that was, like a national center funded by the NIMH.
She's known for many of those accomplishments and her national leadership in social work and social work education. But when you ask people around her that worked under her, their fondest memory is the sense of community that she built. She was visionary because she knew how to know about each person as a human being, as an individual, to help nurture their dreams and goals and their desires to be the kind of faculty member or staff member that they wanted to be. You weren't just an employee, you were a person with a life beyond the walls of the school as well. And she understood that and appreciated that.
There was no paid family leave, and I talked to her and she gave me one course release, and then the rest of the semester we arranged with others of my colleagues to finish the semester. She knew my kids intimately all the way through college, after college, way before they were gone.
She would just gather around the families, and she knew every child's name, invited them into the school.
There was even a joke that if you needed to ask her for something, you needed to bring a baby when you came to the office.
During that time, she started this thing called the Fall Follies, which was a fundraiser for the school, but it also was like a place where families joined, and there was, people showed their talents.
Hey, anybody that thinks they should get tenure? No! Just kidding. That's kind of inappropriate. I'm sorry.
It was all about family. And I think that inspired people to do such good work, and that propelled them to the levels where they are now and where they're continuing to go, because they believed in what they were doing and they felt like this was truly their home and there was ownership.
It was during this era that the school became a top 10 school of social work. And I remember the day, there was just dancing in the halls. People were just jumping up and down, and she was so excited too. She was dancing up and down the halls. There was just so much excitement.
When I walked into the building the first time, I remember coming up the front steps and then getting into the main foyer area and then seeing just a little clips of the mural, and I was like, what is that?
I started this in 1995. Dr. Dina Mirsky called me and asked me if I was interested in applying for a mural, and she said, hey, School of Social Work, you should understand that. I would just talk to people as they walked up the stairs. They would be talking about what they were dealing with when they were doing actual social work. The word integral comes in, as have it integrate not just the architecture, but the actual community of the school.
After I would meet with students and tell them about all the great opportunities they would have if they came here, I would take them on a tour of the building, and one of the first places that I would take them to is that mural.
It has so many different depictions of different kinds of things that go on in this world, of violence, of hope, of joy.
There was something about it that gave me energy, that gave me this connection that I belong in this university, because there's this symbolism there that goes beyond just paint on a wall. I feel that mural is the heart and soul of our profession. And coincidentally, that's the name of the mural.
Like we all know, you can't have the negative without the positive. You can't have light without dark, you can't have heart without soul.
This building, one of the things about it, because it was a junior high, you could imagine the kids walking down the hall, the teachers and so on. It carried on during the time that it's been a school of social work, where just the layout of it, the way people will interact, where they'll encounter each other going up the stairs or down the stairs, that really all acted to create a community.
It's kind of like if we were in a tennis match, the balls get set up a little bit. Dean might have set it up, but he hit it over the net. Well, Dean Zayas had lots of strengths in fundraising, and he really built the research infrastructure of the school.
He brought people that were doing research in different areas. He certainly helped diversify our faculty here.
As a dean, my main concern was to showcase my faculty. I try to push them into leadership roles, both local and national roles. One of the things I'm proudest of is the level of diversity that we were able to reach in our faculty. Unlike any other school of social work, 45% of the faculty at the time were scholars of color. That was wonderful. Everybody knew social work by the time I left, and that we had this star cast.
And of course, the Steve Hicks Endowment came into fruition during the time that Dean Zayas was here. And that has been so helpful in supporting our students and our faculty and helping us realize the vision of the School of Social Work.
You always have to let go of something to grab onto something new, right? We need something that represents who we are now, not who we were then. So I'm excited about the move.
One of the challenges we've had here for a lot of years is we literally cannot fit every member of our community under one roof. We have those members in 3 different places around Austin. We need better working spaces to do the very important work of social work in the 21st century.
Social work is important because we value the dignity, human worth of every individual.
We just don't turn off the switch. We're always trying to give voice to those that don't have a voice, speak truth to power.
We often say between the womb and the tomb, everyone's going to need a social worker.
The generation that I served in, we built this school into a top 10 school. And now it's time for us to give this over to another generation, and they will make their own success.
I've been working at this school for 19 years. As a graduate student, I was in that same building. I really cut my social work teeth in that building. And so I have many great memories of the school, but it's in the corner of campus. Like, it's in that right little corner of campus.
One of the things I'm most excited about in relocating from where we are now is that we'll be at the epicenter of campus, and that presents all kinds of opportunities for social work, in particular social work at the University of Texas at Austin, that we've never experienced, frankly.
We will be in the mix, right? And that is really, really important for the face of our school. We're a prominent school, and we need a prominent space.
Wherever they go, they will infest that area with their spirit, and it will become the new Steve Hicks School of Social Work, and that's going to be a great place to be.
Endings are really hard. Every ending is a new beginning.
The 19th century Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard pointed out that life can only be understood by looking backwards, but it can only be lived by looking forwards. And we're in one of those moments where we have the opportunity as a school to look backwards and to understand who we are and where we've come from, and to be grateful for that, and to build on that as we look forward into new opportunities to become a new version of ourselves, and in the meantime, make the world better.
The first act that we have is called the Roustabouts, and they have achieved tremendous success on the campus of UT by a crowd-pleasing it's a tongue twister. Crowd-pleasing dance performances that exhibit hip-hop and stylized jazz. Let's welcome the Roustabouts.